Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Om. Salutations to Bhagavan Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna's devotional teachings. We are on chapter Bhakti Yoga is indeed the path for the age. The 8th teaching in the 2nd chapter is, one may not know the right path, but if there is bhakti and the desire to know God, then one attains Him through the force of sheer bhakti. It's as if Sri Ramakrishna is speaking about himself. He started off, yes, as a young priest. He never knew the various paths and what has to be done, because every yoga has its very structured paths, one stage leading to the next, etc. Sri Ramakrishna, he just went there to the force of his bhakti, and that is called that intense vyakulata, the desire or the desire to see God. There are two things here. He said, if there is bhakti and the desire to know God, well, if you have bhakti, it will lead you to God. That's inevitable. But there's one important thing here when one may not know the right path. Even we are in following the path of bhakti, we know this is the path for us, because as Sri Ramakrishna says, this path is easier in this age to attain God. It's easier to attain God by following the path of devotion. We are on the path of devotion. We are in the bhakti yoga. But at many times what happens is, you will find there are various stages of bhakti. And at each stage, one may not know the very intricacies of this bhakti here inside. An extreme example in the life of Sri Ramakrishna itself, you can find that he felt a burning sensation all over his body. And nothing could allay that pain. He had to immerse himself in the Ganges water and keep a small towel soaked in water over his head. That gave him a little relief. Then, when the Bhairavi Brahmani comes in, his guru in the Vaishnava disciplines, she immediately recognizes that this is not a simple malady. It is due to an intense yearning for God. Chaitanya also experienced, all the great saints also experienced it. And she gave a small solution. Oh, it's nothing, just smear fresh sandal paste, wear a garland of flowers, and that stopped the burning. Well, it might sound the cause is different and the effect of this cure is, what's this? Solution. But this was an extreme case, of course. But when we begin the spiritual path, different levels of bhakti open up to us. That means different levels of your own mind open up to you. Because bhakti is the best medium to open your mind, make it vaster. The more selfish a mind is, there's less bhakti in it. The more it starts broadening out, the more love fills in. And even if you take the idea of bhakti out, you can see it. The more unselfish a person is, the more loving the person is. And when the mind expands due to whether the practice of karma yoga, your mind breaks down the barriers of your own self-identification, you start identifying yourself with everything, or through love, where you start identifying yourself, you break barriers and identifying yourself with everything. It is at this stage where sometimes difficulties do come. But he says, but if there's a desire to see God, to know God, then one attains Him to the force of that sheer bhakti, that force itself. I don't know. Shankaracharya in one of his hymns to the Divine Mother, Na janami tantram, na janami pujam, na janami yogam, na dhyana yogam, na janami kanchit. So he says, he keeps on. I don't know mantra, I don't know japa, I don't know puja, I don't know yoga, I don't know renunciation, I don't know anything. But he says, Gati stvam gati. But you are my final goal, you are my path, you are my goal, O Mother. So here this is. I don't know anything. I don't want to know anything also. Na janami cha anya suranam sharanya. I don't know any other place where I can go to take refuge in you. So this is that Bhavani Ashtakam. So the devotee, the one who has bhakti, will start with this. I don't know anything. But I have got this desire to see God. And that is what will open the various aspects of your mind and your spirit, of course. It's your spirit. And then you will attain this God. The next, you may learn a great deal from books, but it is all futile if you have no love for God and no desire to realize Him. It's the same with a little twist. You have a desire to see God, but you have read a lot of books. Sri Ramakrishna gives a commonplace example. He's saying, well, the almanac, it predicts the rainfall for the year. But if you squeeze the almanac, you will not get a drop of water. So you may have read all the books on bhakti, and there are hundreds of books, authentic books. But if you have no love for it, you will have no. Saying, Shankaracharya also, Shabda Jalam Mahara, the network of words is like a great, you can say, forest. The soul, the mind loses track in it. So also, you may be able to speak of bhakti, but if you don't have bhakti, then it's like squeezing that almanac for water, because it's predicted there. Books are necessary in the beginning for many. But if it does not give rise to the feeling of love for God. What is the love for God? The attachment to God, the love for God. So there are various types of books. Do you mean to say you got to read all types of books? No, only those books which deal with love and deal with the lives of saints, how they struggled and how they saw God. These are the books that if you read in the beginning, it helps. And not only in the beginning, but also in the middle and also at the end. So, because they inspire you, this realization of God has been done before, over and over by these saints. Sri Ramakrishna used to weep and weep. He's saying, Mother, you revealed yourself to Ram Prasad and all the other saints. What about me? Why have you kept yourself away from me? This is the way. Either you read about these lives of saints, but again, they will inspire you. But if you read on bhakti and who was the founder of this sect and what is his philosophy and what is the doctrine, you might not get that real bhakti. So you say you may learn a great deal from books, but it's futile if you have no love for God and desire to realize Him. And so does Bhakti Yoga dismiss all studies? No. There are books that describe the glories of God, the various, the Leela, the divine play. These books are helpful in generating bhakti. But dry philosophy, the bhakta says, oh no. Keep all these dry philosophical books to yourself and let me taste the divine love. The 10th, God incarnates Himself as a human being and teaches people the path of devotion. He exhorts people to cultivate self-surrender to God, following the path of devotion. One realizes everything through His grace, both knowledge and supreme wisdom. God incarnates, descends as an avatar. The word avatar itself means descent. God descends as a human being, incarnates as a human being. Now, when you see this world, nature is beautiful, and yes, it's beautiful, but it's so mysterious too. It is at the same time not willing to reveal its secrets to you very quickly. You have to struggle, whether it's on the biological or material level, you have to struggle and struggle and struggle. And then nature will reveal a little of its secret, but then keeps most of it still hidden. The mind, when it comes to the mind, it's even more mysterious. People have been for thousands of years been trying to understand what is the mind. Even that is a big mystery. But the greatest of all mysteries is how God incarnates. That will be the very final mystery. To give you an example, Sri Ramakrishna, even before he took up the path of serious spiritual aspiration, he had met many souls who were knowers of Brahman. Those guys, not only knowers of Brahman, of all level of spiritual aspirants, But those knowers of Brahman, as it were, could not recognize him. And we say, oh, if I was there during Sri Ramakrishna's time, it would have been so nice. You will not be able to recognize. Even knowers of Brahman cannot recognize it. Totapuri, that mad Paramahansa from the Brahmo Samaj, etc. So many of them, they saw him, but they never recognized him as an incarnation. They never recognized him as God. What? What kind of knowledge of Brahman is this? Yes, this far transcends even the knowledge of Brahman. So we had people, spiritual aspirants and perfected ones from different disciplines. Only a few of them, like Padmalochan. Oh, they say that you are an incarnation. Oh, they have minimized you by saying you are the source of all incarnations. Like Gauri Pandit and all these Vaishnavacharan. They saw, because they were serious spiritual aspirants, and they declared, yes, he is what is. But they took their books. They had the books mentioning them, and they were experts, they were spiritual aspirants, and then they. But ordinarily, you can't. God, as it were, hides. You say, where is God hiding in the clouds? God is hiding within us, obviously, and also even more when God incarnates. That's why it's so mysterious. And then he says, God incarnates as a human being and teaches the path of devotion there. Why? You can see Sri Ramakrishna, his 12 years of intense spiritual disciplines. They say this is divided into 3 sections. But this 12 years and the rest of his life, he constantly taught us how to love God. To different aspirants, to different minds, in different religions, everywhere. They come to establish God is real, and these paths, because they have to traverse these paths, clear them of all encrustations and say, this is the easiest path to love God. When he says, I did all the exercises in Hatha Yoga, you don't have to, because your mind is stuck to your body consciousness. Or you say, you don't do all those tantras and all. I've seen it. So here he's telling you what to avoid also, because he knows. He's saying this is the royal path. So he comes and teaches people. He exhorts people to cultivate self-surrender. Here it is. So he explains this, saying, Sri Ramakrishna, what is the best way? Self-surrender. Now that is the last word in spiritual life. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, towards the very end, Krishna tells Arjuna, surrendering all dharmas, take refuge in me, and I will lift you up from all evil. But you got to go through that. Yes. So self-surrender is a process. It is not something that you'll suddenly wake up tomorrow and say, oh, I have surrendered. Yes, that's a different thing. Speaking about speak about it, think about it, yes, but then actuality, the ego is so strong. Oh my God. It's not going to let you surrender, whatever. Why? Because it thinks surrender is weakness. inability, incapacity. No. Surrender, self-surrender comes from strength. And if we can understand this, then it becomes easy. So he has taught you various ways in the gospel. You find how to cultivate the self-surrender, how slowly. The more you go towards the east, the west falls away, he says. The more you go towards God, the easier self-surrender happens. Because you are in the presence of, oh my God. Suddenly you find, what? I thought God was like this. Could be captured by my yoga, my japa, and my meditation, and my idea of God. No, it's not. Then you suddenly see it goes beyond all your imaginations, all your conceptions, all your spirituality. Then you are in the presence of something so massive. You just let go. So this is cultivation of self-surrender. So he said, following the path of devotion, one realizes everything through his grace. That's grace. So God not only teaches you how to surrender, he gives you the grace also, which is the good thing. This is important because he or she has not abandoned you. There are some people who tell you, hey, do this, and you are left to your own devices. But here Sri Ramakrishna is teaching you to cultivate self-surrender and also helping you to attain that self-surrender through his grace. Why? Well, because he loves you. So that's it. Because the very idea of an incarnation, he comes because of his love for you. Because his compassion draws you. So at least you know somebody loves me. People say, nobody loves me in this world. Yes. There's somebody who really counts, God. So one realizes everything through his grace, both knowledge and supreme. So through his grace you attain, the originally says, Jnana Vijnanam. So knowledge and realization. Jnana is knowledge, Vijnana is realization. What is the state of Vijnana? That you see, that you thought the God was trying to trap God in a small place and said, this is my God, this is your God. No, this is. You'll find that your conceptions of God, it starts with the idea of a personal God, and then it grows and grows. As your love for him grows, so is your perception of that ideal. That also grows. Your love grows, and so does God grow. God does not grow. God is unchangeable, but appears to grow and grow. So from the personal, then it becomes cosmic, then it becomes universal, and then it transcends all personal limitations, etc., and becomes impersonal. So Sri Ramakrishna has taught God as both the personal and the impersonal. That is what. So otherwise, he's saying, don't try to limit God. So you take your limited, you can say, cup or a mug, and you go and dip it in the ocean of God's love and say, this is what is God. That's only a little of your own conception, your own mug. So you have that whole ocean of that. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying, Ishwara iti. They said, God is only so much. Don't ever make that mistake. And a devotee will never want to limit God. God is infinite. And that same infinity is appearing as a finite deity and as a finite human being. Yes, that's the greatest mystery. So who will solve it? Oneself. When you come to a stage where it's not mysterious anymore. Because you have the knowledge and the realization. So His grace grants you this knowledge and realization. The 11th is, one can see God through bhakti alone, but it must be ripe bhakti, a convincing one. Prema bhakti, ecstatic love, and raga bhakti, a devotion with longing for God. The first line is important. One can see God through bhakti alone. See, realize. Because, as I say, where is that? The more internalized you become, the more bhakti or love changes your body and mind, the more you will be able to see Him. It's Sri Ramakrishna says, it's like the night has passed and it's just the light of the dawn. You know that the sun is going to rise. So as you become more and more internalized and you go deeper and deeper, you will see that God dwelling in your heart. Then later on you'll find everything as God. That's a different thing. But a devotee is interested in this. But then we are so impure. How can we see God? Love makes you pure. So even in the Bhagavad Gita, apichet sudarachara, even if the person who's got evil ways decides to worship me, that person should be considered righteous. For that person has rightly concluded. Soon that person becomes a devotee. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. And attains eternal peace. So these are I'm not competent, I'm so impure, I've got this, I've got that, hundreds of things. Just develop love for God and all those old ideas in your character, in your personality are pulled out. In other disciplines, you have to undergo through a very long period of spiritual disciplines to just purify the body and mind. Shama and Dhamma and Uparati and Titiksha and oh my God. Discriminate between the real and the unreal. Give up all your fruits of actions here and there. Oh. By the time you come to Vedanta, you already become old and you have become feeble. When are you going to come to Vedanta? We are going to take the preliminary disciplines. It's a very long process. In Bhakti Yoga, now, you start now. The day you start loving God, it's the day you start purifying yourself, disciplining your body, disciplining your mind. Everything takes place. So that's the reason one can see God. How do you see? To these eyes? These eyes are, don't bother about these eyes. They will later be converted into your body will become divine. Then you can see things through the divine eyes. As Krishna tells us, you cannot see my form. I'll give you the divine eyes. Pashame yogamaya, see my divine form. So not, because these eyes are subject to illusions. You can see, what is that? They play a trick on your brain. And sometimes the brain is playing tricks on your eyes, and the eyes are playing tricks on the brain. So these are subject to illusions. And we've hundreds of ordinary illusions that we see, but we think we are seeing. You go and tell that to the eagle, and they'll say, no, you don't see anything. Even their eyes are much sharper than us. So it's not this seeing. It's saying, the original is saying darshan, to see, to realize. That is what bhakti does. One can realize God through bhakti alone, but it must be a ripe bhakti. What is ripe bhakti? Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of a raw bhakti and a ripe bhakti. A raw I, and the ripe I. The raw is selfish. The ripe is unselfish. The raw is like a person gets a mango and eats it himself and wipes away all trace of it. Another person gets a mango and shares it. So similarly, bhakti, when it matures, that is real bhakti. So it is a paka bhakti, ripe. So it has to mature. So as it matures, then you will be able to see. That's why it must be ripe bhakti, convincing one. That is not in the original anyway. Convincing. Why? At this stage, when your love, bhakti for God has become mature, first thing that happens is you are sure God exists. That's why it's. I'm assuming the author, the translator, thought like this. There's an unshakable conviction God exists. In the stage of the raw bhakti, immature bhakti, yes, it may be, but then I've taken the evidence of these sages and saints who said, yeah, but it's not my inner experience. But when the bhakti has matured, there's a conviction. That's the reason why he's saying it must be ripe bhakti, a convincing one. Prema bhakti. Prema bhakti is the extreme love for God. So steadfastness leads to bhakti, a love for God. Bhakti leads to the intensification of that mature bhakti into bhava, where you are constantly in a very highly elevated state of mind. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world differently. In that, spiritual truths reveal themselves to you almost endlessly. That's a state of bhava. Then there's the stage of mahabhava, the great bhava. That is reserved only because in that the spiritual currents or spiritual emotions are so strong, it might disintegrate your body. Your body will not be able to hold those emotions. And this has been enumerated in the 19 types of signs that come on the body when you have this. And they say it's reserved only for the very highest of all souls. But for us, even if you have bhava, it's okay. And that mahabhava and prema is that. But here it means when you love, you become ecstatic. This ecstasy, that kind of love is saying. When you see the object of your love, you become ecstatic. What happens? I don't know. People say there's some chemical in their brain or this and that and all, whatever. But when you love God, you get into that ecstasy. Automatically, your prana flows upwards. Obviously, when you're in the ecstatic state, you become oblivious of everything else and you're just focused on that object of love, God. Raga Bhakti. So, and Raga means intense attachment to God. So, it's called also Parabhakti, the higher Bhakti. Bhakti is divided into two main broad divisions. Like Swamiji explains, one is the Vaidhi Bhakti, the preparatory Bhakti. I must do so much of japa, so much of meditation, so much of chanting, so much of eating sacramental food or prostrations, or this, that. I must go to this temple and that temple, etc. I must fulfill all my religious vows. This is just preparing the ground. And then when, like, the water that flows down the river is dammed, and when the dam is broken, all the water rushes out. So similarly, all the forms of bhakti, so much of japa, so much of meditation, so much of getting up in the morning, meditating, all these things, then the whole thing becomes irrelevant, all those forms. Sri Ramakrishna also says that a plant has to be hedged. A growing plant needs to be hedged. And once it grows, take the hedge off. So, at Ragatmika Bhakti or Raga Bhakti is that intensity of that love. It will take away all forms. When one time, Hazra, who was there, one of the characters there, he was as they say, one who loved to spoil things. So he told Sri Ramakrishna, what are you said whole day laughing and talking with the young boys? And look at me, how much you should sit down and do japa. And so he's saying, see what Hazra is saying, I should do a little japa. Then Sri Ramakrishna takes his rosary in his left hand, and begins to count, and he goes into such a deep samadhi that everyone is stunned. It took a long time, including Hazra. Now, he never needed to do japa like us, Sri Ramakrishna. M also, the author of the gospel, he says in his first visit, it's evening, maybe you want to sit down for your evening devotions. So Sri Ramakrishna, no, nothing like that. Those things are all over. They do it, however, for the sake of other souls, not for themselves. So this great love transfers itself to not only a body but to objects also around. It changes the atmosphere. It changes the objects, trees and everything will change. Birds and animals will feel that great love. They will come to you. There is that you become a blessing to humanity. It's not just an ordinary love. So in the scriptures they say, the earth is blessed by such people with that love for God. The earth becomes purified, not only blessed, becomes purified. And people are lifted up by that love. And that's why Chaitanya used to get all the people answer. It's not that he began singing and dancing in the name of God and people still get, and it was a kind of a madness in the name of God. Mad with love. So you give up everything. So this love transforms you, transforms the mind, transforms the people. So people come and they get transformed in your presence. They will think only of God in your presence. So this is what is. We stop here for today. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Gospel of Holy Mother, reading and discussion via Google Meet by Swami Brahmatmananda. Friday, 7 p.m., Self-Knowledge Atma Bodha here in Seattle. On Saturday, 10 a.m., starting from 10 a.m. on Saturday, we have a 2-day retreat on meditation, the inner freedom of spiritual life. The inner freedom of spiritual life. These 2 nuns will be conducting it in Tapovan, Arlington. We had sent up a sign-up sheet. It's all signed up. And so Saturday, the whole day, and again Sunday. So there won't be a Sunday talk here. Now there will be children's programs. So no lecture in Seattle on Sunday, the coming Sunday. We are meditating at Tapovan. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.